Friends, so let us look at why you want to move to Canada. I will go through this very quickly. I'm sure you have heard a lot about Canada and why it is such a good place to move, and you have already decided to move to Canada. So I will not spend much time on this. You can see that it is a very, warm and welcoming towards it. Canada is very warm and welcoming towards immigrants. It offers very good quality of life, safety, best place to work and live. And above all, it has excellent healthcare and education system. So what are the benefits? What are the benefits of getting permanent residency in Canada? The first and the biggest benefit is you can live there, you can work there, your children can study there, and free education for children. Now, this is one of the biggest attraction. We know that a lot of us are planning to send our children to Canada for further education, or we already have children studying in Canada for education. For instance, my son is looking at moving to Canada next year for education, and we are just waiting. He has been shortlisted by a couple of universities, and we are just waiting for results from other universities. So that is a big attraction. Healthcare for the whole family. As you know, in Canada, public healthcare is absolutely free. You can just walk into the hospital or to the doctor's clinic. You don't have to pay a single paisa. You just take the treatment and move out, and the hospital or the clinic will bill the government directly. You also, another big advantage of, Canadian PR is you can get citizenship in just 3 years. The requirement for getting citizenship is you have to spend 1,095 days in Canada in aggregate. And if you have spent so much time in Canada, you can become eligible for citizenship. Now, if you look at other countries like US or UK, you have to stay there for at least 5 years in order to become eligible for citizenship. Whereas in case of Canada, you can just get it after staying there for 1,095 days. And once you get your Canadian passport, of course, it becomes easier for you to move to US as well. Let us try to understand the Canadian immigration system. Canada is a country which has been welcoming a lot of immigrants. It's a very large country. It has a very low population, which is fast aging. Yeah, can anybody tell me what will be the size of Canada compared to India? We all know Canada is a very large country, but when it comes to India, if you compare it to India, what would be the size of Canada? Is it as 1.5 times bigger than India? Is it 2 times bigger than India? 3 times, 4 times? Can you please go to the chat and type it over there? All right. Can we have some participation in the chat over here? 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Yeah. Well, actually, Canada is about 3 times the size of India. It is 3 times bigger than India, and it is very rich in natural resources. And any idea about the population of Canada? How much is it? Is it 1 crore, 5 crores, 10 crores, 50 crores? Can you please go into the chat and type it over there? 4 crores, yes. 30 crores, 4 crores, 10 crores, 10 crores, 4 crores. I think some of you have got it right. The population of Canada is just around 4 CR, which is equal to the population, which is less than the population of Mumbai and Delhi put together. So now imagine a country which is 3 times the size of India and a population equal to just Delhi and Mumbai. So you can see that they need people to move over there, and that's why they're encouraging more and more immigrants. However, they just do not want anybody to move to Canada. They want people who can move there, who can contribute to the economy and grow. So they are looking at people who are talented, qualified, and who can contribute to the economy. And Canada has got 70 different programs, more than 70 programs to migrate to Canada. So each of these programs is designed to meet the particular requirement. They have federal programs as well as provincial programs. Federal programs are decided by the federal government or the central government, right? And the provincial programs are divided by each of the provinces or states. As we know, Canada has got about 8 to 9 provinces. You have, Ontario, British Columbia, Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan, etc. So again, Each of this province has its own immigration program to attract people to meet the requirements of that particular provinces. Now, I'm sure many of you would have heard about this immigration programs. I would like to know how many of you are actively looking at this various kind of immigration programs. Can we have the third poll, please? Yes, so you can see over here, Express Entry, which is a very well-known program. You have PNP program, you have Startup Visa program, you have other business immigration programs. All right, so I can see that a lot of you would have applied for, are you looking at the Express Entry? Most of you are looking at the Startup Visa program, and that's why you are here with us. That's wonderful. And there are others who are looking at various other business immigration programs. So I can see that we have the right audience today. We have people who we have been talking to about the Startup Visa, and most of the people who are here today are primarily interested in the Startup Visa program, which we are going to talk in detail now. Right? So essentially, when we talk about the Express Entry program, this is very popular with youngsters, young people who are educated, who are good English knowledge. They can move to Canada without any investment or without any, commitment, starting any business. You can directly move to PR. But once you are 40, you will not get enough points to qualify, no matter what is your education, business experience, net worth, etc. Then you have other business immigration programs. These are specifically targeted to entrepreneurs or people who want to move to Canada and start business over there. And we have the PNP programs, the provincial nominating programs. These are designed, as discussed earlier, by each province to meet their requirement. Now, let us look at people like you, people like you and me, why business immigration makes sense. Most of the immigration programs in Canada are point-based and highly competitive. So you have to meet certain requirements, you have to score certain points, and then only you will become eligible. And like I said earlier, once you are 40 years of age, Express Entry is almost not possible for you. Right? So for people who have money and who have business or management experience, business immigration is the best option. You can start and invest in a business and not only get a PR, but also establish a source of income. Now, let us look at a typical business immigration program. Let us look at typical business immigration program in Canada. How does it work? First, you have to determine your eligibility. Whether you qualify for this program. After you have determined your eligibility, you have to score points. Whether you have enough points to qualify for this program, because like we said earlier, it is competitive. There are a lot of people who would be eligible. But then who's the one who's going to be selected? The ones with the highest points. So this process is something similar to applying for college admission for your children. You have to pass a particular examination. After that, you need to look at how many marks you have got and what are the other requirements of the college that you're meeting. And a lot of people will be meeting that requirement, but only a few students will be selected. So similarly over here, a lot of people would be meeting the requirement. After you meet the requirements, you put in your application, then they will have draws. Once the draws are done, then you may get selected. If you get selected, you will get a work permit or temporary visa. Then you move to Canada. After moving to Canada, you have to meet certain conditions. And only after that, you will get a nomination for PR. Once you get a nomination for PR, you have to apply for PR and you have to wait till you get your permanent residency. So you can see that, friends, there are a lot of steps involved in this typical business immigration program. There are a lot of conditions to be made. First of all, you have to be eligible. Then you have to see whether you score the points. Then you have to see whether you are getting selected in the draw. And after that, you have to see, and after moving to Canada, whether you have met the business conditions. Now, if we talk about the time period from checking your eligibility till waiting for the draw and then getting a work permit under the typical business immigration program could be 6 months to 1 year or even more. After you get a work permit and move to Canada, you will have to work on your business for at least 2 years. And only after that, you will get nomination. And once you get a nomination, you apply for PR, it could take 1 year to 3 years. So the entire process, while you can move to Canada earlier in about 6 months to a year, by the time you get a PR, it could be 3 years or 4 years. Now, this is a typical immigration program, business immigration program. When it comes to startup visa, it is a fast track immigration program. You cut down all the steps in between. You move from eligibility directly through nomination. All these processes are eliminated. Well, of course, there is another process that you have to follow, but you can move from eligibility to meeting the conditions and getting nominated in just about 3 to 6 months and immediately file for your PR. So it eliminates a lot of steps, it eliminates a lot of requirements, and it saves a lot of time when you are applying for PR. And this is particularly important for those of you who have children who are about to turn 22 years. Like we know that in the startup visa program, you can cover your family members, your spouse, as well as your children up to 22 years of age. They have to be 22 years of age at the time of applying for PR. Now, if you have a child who is, about 19 years of age and you go for a conventional business immigration program, it will take you about 3 to 4 years to apply for PR. And it is possible that your son who is 19 years or daughter who is 19 years of age may have crossed 22 years and may not be a part of your family PR application. Whereas in case of the startup visa, you are applying for the PR within 6 months. So even if your child is 21 years of age, if you start the startup visa program now and apply for PR in the, let's say, 6 months, your son who is 21 years old will still be covered under the program. So this is one of the biggest benefits of the startup visa program, which we need to keep in mind. Now, let us look at what is the startup visa program. Now, the startup visa program is a specialized immigration program offered by Canadian government to primarily attract entrepreneurial talent. They want talented entrepreneurs to come to Canada and set up innovative business, and it offers direct permanent residency. You need to set up an innovative business which will help in creating jobs and also which will compete globally. Right? Let us look at the Canada Startup Visa, this program it's not a new program. It had started in 2013. However, it was not known. Not too many people were applying for that program because there were other options available. So this program became popular only in 2018. And since 2018, a lot of people have been applying for this startup visa program. Even during COVID, there were a lot of applications being done. We ourselves have filed a lot of applications during the COVID. And now the program has become even more successful, and the Canadian government has decided to set aside more visas for this categories. So like you can see, for the year 2023, they are now offering 3,500 visas under the startup visa program. For 24, it is 5,000, and for 25, it is 6,000. So we know that for the next 3 years, the focus of the Canadian government is on the startup visa, and they will be encouraging more and more people to participate in this program. Now, why should one look at startup visa? Now, I'm talking about this primarily from the immigration point of view. There are reasons to look at this program purely from business point of view also, which we will decide. But if you are looking at primarily from immigration point of view, this is one of the quickest way to apply for PR compared to other traditional programs like we had seen earlier. The second thing is, it is federal program, which means you can live, work, study anywhere in Canada, any city. You want to live in Toronto, you want to live in Vancouver, you are free to settle over there. You are not restricted to any particular province. Again, another requirement is for this program is, USP is that you don't need to score any points. Most of the business program will try to qualify you based on the points. Here, there is no point requirement. There is no net worth requirement as well. Like in other business immigration programs, you need to get your net worth verified by government-appointed agencies. There are 3 agencies appointed by the Canadian government, and there you have to submit all the details about your net worth. They will verify it independently, and only then you can qualify. Again, education credentials in case of other program. Some of you would have applied for express entry or other programs and would know that how difficult it is to get the credentials verified by West nowadays. So in case of this program, there is no need to get your credentials, education credentials also verified. The English language requirement is very minimum. You need to score CLB level 5, which is a basic or intermediate level English, and I'm sure all of you would be able to qualify for that. And the other thing is that you don't have to, this is the only program in which you can apply directly for the PR like we had seen earlier. However, while the PR processing is currently taking time, it is taking about 30 months. But you did not wait till your PR is processed. After filing your PR, you can also apply for work permit. And the work permit application is currently taking about 2 to 3 months. So you can move to Canada after filing your PR, you apply for work permit and move to Canada in just about 2 to 3 months. Let us look at what are the business requirements, right? So before we move to the business requirements, I would like to ask you, I would like to understand what kind of business do you have, so if you could just tell me, can we have the poll, please? We would like to know what is your profile, whether you are into business, whether it is innovative business, or whether you are working. Yeah. Pooja, can we have the poll, please? Yeah. So while the poll is coming up, let us talk about this business. The business has to be innovative. It could be an innovative business, it could be innovative product, or technology, or service or process. Now, we have been talking to our clients about the startup visa program. Most of the clients feel that in order to qualify for startup visa, the business has to be a tech-related business. Now, this is not the case. Your business need not be tech-related. It has nothing to do, even you can have an innovative business even without IT. So we have a video on this, where we have cleared some of the myths pertaining to startup visa. Yeah, here is a poll. Not this one, Pooja, the next one, about the profile. Yeah, go back and launch the other one, Pooja. Okay, so I can give you examples. I can give you examples. We have had businesses which are unique, innovative, without much of tech, element involved in it. It could be conventional business. Like, for example, we had a business which was tea business, the normal tea that we have. So there was this tea company which had designed an app. You have to go into the app. You have to specify what is your liking for the tea, your requirement, what experience would you like to have, what kind of aroma you would like to have, what kind of fragrance, what kind of taste you would like to have in the tea. Based on the inputs given by you, they would prepare a special mixture of the tea and ship it to you. So this was, again, a example of conventional business, which was given an innovative element. We also had interior decorators. Interior decorators, we had an app which was developed whereby through the app, you could design the house. And not only that, there were links to the items, various design elements, various items which were there in that image. It was linked to the supplier and you could directly connect. It was a kind of a marketplace. You could directly connect to the supplier of those products. And this is how we brought innovation to even an ordinary business of interior decoration. Similarly, we had a lot of doctors participating in this program. We had apps which were relating to healthcare, senior care, etc. And we had doctors who could contribute very well into this kind of businesses. So all kind of businesses could be a part of this, startup could be looked at as innovative business. It helps if you have if you already have an existing innovative business and you have some kind of a track record. And the business has to be globally scalable. We have to present that this business has a potential to go global. And you need to have a solid business plan. And the good thing about the startup visa is that in a single business or a business plan, there could be up to 5 founders. So 5 people could come together, form an innovative business, and all 5 founders, along with their family, will be eligible for the PR. right? Now, again, when it comes to business, we have been talking to clients, they have been having questions whether my business has to be successful in order for me to get the PR. Now, this is again a myth, and you can see in our video, we have unraveled this myth as well. The Canadian government understands that not all the startups are going to be successful. Hence, they have not put this condition regarding success of the business for the purpose of getting PR. Right? They are only looking at what steps have you taken towards achieving your business plan. So the PR, the letter of support or the nomination is given to you based on acceptance of your business concept or the business plan and not the actual business. Once your business concept or the business plan is accepted, you can file for the PR. However, after filing for the PR, the Canadian government obviously wants to know what steps you have taken to achieve your business plan. And that is what we need to show them. And, even if the business fails, you will still get your PR. What are the other specific requirements? Now let us look at this. So the way the concept of startup visa works is that you need to have a business plan which is innovative, globally scalable. You need to prepare a business plan on your business concept and present it to a designated entity. Now, this designated entities are private entities. They are not government entities. Now, Canadian government has taken the view that they are bureaucrats. They are not specialized in business, especially innovative business. So they don't understand the innovative business. So they have outsourced this responsibility of identifying innovative business to agencies which specialize in startups. So this could be angel investors, venture capital funds, or business incubators. So we have to present our business idea to these agencies. If these entities are convinced that our business is indeed innovative and it could work in Canada, then they will issue a letter of support saying that they are ready to support our business in Canada. And once you get the letter of support, you become eligible for PR. You can file for your PR application. So it's as simple as that. You need to present your business plan. The business plan needs to have an element of innovation, and the designated entities have to be convinced that your business is innovative and it can work in Canada. That is a primary requirement. Then, of course, there are a couple of other requirements which are very easy to meet. Like you can see over here, for English language requirement is CLB5. And one more requirement is that you need to show that you have sufficient funds to support your family once you immigrate to Canada. So friends, like we have seen earlier, startup business, are businesses which will take time to become profitable. So the Canadian government wants to know that while your startup is taking shape in Canada, you have enough funds to support yourself and your family, and you will not be a burden on the government. That's why you need to show that you have this money lying in your bank account or in fixed deposits or in certain investments. So you need to submit the proof. To know more about this, we have come up with a detailed video on this as well. After this presentation, today's presentation, will send you a mail in which we'll share this video also. Now let us look at, how the Canada Startup Visa compares with other traditional business immigration programs. So when it comes to time for PR under the Canada Startup Visa, currently it is taking about 2 to 3 years. Earlier, it was just about 1 to 1.5 years, but due to COVID, there is a backlog. And as we know that all visas are taking longer time to process. So the PR under the Startup Visa is currently taking 2 to 3 years, whereas under the other Entrepreneur program, we have seen that the process of applying for PR starts much later, and it will take you as long as 5 years also to get PR. When it comes to point requirement for startup visa, there is no point requirement. For entrepreneur programs and other programs, you need to require points. Minimum stay requirement in Canada. All right. So here again, we have a lot of questions. There are a lot of myths. Some people believe that you need to move to Canada immediately and stay over there, whereas some people feel that you need not move to Canada till the time you get your PR. Now, both of you could be right. The stay requirement under the startup visa program in Canada is flexible depending upon the need of the business. So if you are keen on moving to Canada, and starting your business immediately, you can immediately apply for the work permit and move to Canada. If you need some more time to complete, the business element in India and then move to Canada, then you can apply for work permit later. If you feel that, there is somebody in the group who can move to Canada and work on it, and if you want to continue staying in India and work on the startup from India, that may also be possible. So there is a lot of flexibility available under the startup visa program. Whereas in case of traditional business immigration programs, you essentially have to move to Canada and stay there for at least 9 months in a year. When it comes to investment amount, the startup visa requirement is very flexible. There is no minimum stipulated investment amount, and you can, it all depends on the business requirement. Whereas in case of traditional entrepreneur programs, you need to invest a minimum of, let's say, $250,000. Nature of the program, as we discussed earlier, the startup visa program is a federal program, which means you can stay and do business in any part of Canada. Whereas in case of entrepreneur programs, they're provincial programs, and you will have to stay in that particular province only from where you have got the invitation. Also, when it comes to age criteria, the startup visa program is quite generous. We have had founders in the age group of late 50s and 60s, early 60s who have applied for the startup visa program. Whereas in case of conventional programs, the age limit is usually up to 55 years. So friends, like we have seen that there are a lot of advantages of startup visa program over conventional, business immigration programs. Now look at for whom this program is suitable. This program is suitable for a wide range of people. People like you, most of the people who are there over here would be able to participate in this program. It is for entrepreneurs who already have innovative business. So entrepreneurs who already have innovative business and their objective is to take the business to North America, which is a huge market, and setting up the business over there and also getting PR in Canada, this is for them. The requirement is that you need to have an innovative business in home country and the track records. And such entrepreneurs will not only be able to set up the business in Canada, but also get a lot of other benefits. The Canadian government, both the federal government as well as the provincial government, has a lot of programs and incentives to support the startup. You have financial support like guarantees from the government, subsidized loans, grants. For example, if you're going to spend money on digital marketing, you can, claim part of the reimbursement up to $65,000 from the Canadian government. And you can get loans at very subsidized rate based on the guarantee given by the government. So these are some of the financial benefits. When it comes to non-financial benefits, you can, network with other startup, entities like angel investors, incubators, other businesses. There are a lot of networking opportunities, the events organized by the government, and you can participate on that. You can also participate in trade exhibitions, etc. You can also recruit people from campus. Like we know, places like Toronto and other places in Canada have fantastic universities, and you can go and recruit, take interns from this institute to work on your startup visa. So these are the other benefits associated, business benefits associated with the startup visa program. When it comes to investment for an innovative business, the investment could be about 45 lakhs onwards, depending upon the nature of the business and its requirements. This includes the cost of setting up your startup and whatever additional amount that you need to make your business grow depends upon the business requirement. The time frame for moving to Canada in this program, like I said, with the work permit, you can move to Canada as early as 6 to 8 months. You can move there, you can start working on your startup, and you can wait for your PRO application to be processed. Now, good point. There is one more point I would like to highlight over here is if you're moving to Canada on work permit, then you will get a work permit to work on your startup only. However, your spouse will get open work permit, which means that he or she can work in Canada wherever they want, or they can do any other business or profession in Canada. Right? It is also for businessmen with established business. So like we said earlier, it's not necessary that you need to have a tech business. You could also have an existing conventional traditional business. We'll look at the business, we'll evaluate your business, we'll see if there is any element of innovation in your traditional business that we can introduce and extrapolate to make it innovative and qualify for the Canada Startup Visa. Then also, if you are professionals, like we said earlier, doctors, CAs, architects, etc., they can also move to Canada. Or if you want to invest in a startup along with others and support them, you can also move to Canada under the Startup Visa program. So friends, like we have seen, this is a program which covers a wide range of audience and not necessarily restricted to tech entrepreneurs. Now, let us see how we can help you with this entire process, right? We'll handhold you throughout the entire process in India as well as Canada. It starts with a feasibility study. The first step is undertake a feasibility study. We try to understand your profile. We try to understand your business. We try to see whether your business qualifies as innovative business. If not, what needs to be done to qualify your business as a startup. We look at your profile, and we try to correlate your profile with the innovative business and see where do you fit in. Once the feasibility study is completed, we help you in preparing the business plan and a pitch deck, which needs to be presented to the designated entity. We'll also train you on how to make the presentation to the designated entity and what are the points that you need to present. Once the presentation is done, we need to get the approval from the designated entity. And once you get the designated approval from the designated entity, you can apply for the PR. So we'll be there throughout this process, and this process from feasibility study to PR application could take about, anywhere about 4 to 6 months. And then after filing your PR, we'll help you in submitting your application for the work permit. Once you move to Canada on the work permit, we have a package to help you to settle in Canada. And thereafter, like I mentioned earlier, the Canadian government wants to know that what steps you are taking to convert your business plan into reality. And for this purpose, you need to keep reporting to designated entity as well as the immigration authorities on the progress of your business, and will help you in doing that as well. So like you can see, we'll handhold you throughout the entire process. Now let us look at why clients choose us. So friends, we have been doing that Canada Startup Visa since 2019. A lot of our clients during the COVID also completed this process virtually. Again, you don't need to move to Canada. This entire process can be done from here. And we have been able to help you, given my background as a chartered accountant and as a banker. We are very much experienced when it comes to banking, finance, taxation, and entrepreneurship. I myself am an entrepreneur now. Not only that, I have set up my own fintech startup in Canada. I've been through this entire process. I've done the presentation to the designated entity, got the letter of support, and filed for my PR as well. So I have hands-on experience, and I can understand how this entire process works. We also have relationships with incubators, investors, other designated entities, and government agencies in Canada who can help you in setting up and growing your startup in Canada and make it a success. And more importantly, we have genuine desire to help entrepreneurs and businessmen in India to grow their business and take them global. Right? So this is the package that we have. Of course, from what I mentioned earlier, once you move to Canada, we can help you in getting accommodation over there, the office space. We can help you with your children's education, social security number, account opening, banking, taxation, etc. So we'll be supporting you not only in India, but also in Canada. Right, friends? Now, let us look at why we need to move fast on the startup visa program, or for that matter, any immigration program. So friends, apart from Canada Startup Visa, we have been dealing with other immigration programs. And recently, in the last 2 days back, there have been a lot of announcements. The Irish government has shut down its Golden Visa program on 15th of February. The Portuguese government has announced that it is shutting down its Golden Visa program. And in this announcement, it has made on 16th of February, but they have not announced the date on which it is going to be effective. So the much popular US EB-5 program, which was at 500,000. I'm sure some of you would have heard about the EB-5 program. This was at 500,000 about 4 years back. And just last month, I was talking to a client. This client was looking for the EB-5 program for the last 5 years, but he did not do it when it was at 500,000. And at that point of time, his elder son was of 18 years of age. Now, after 5 years, he has come back to us and he wanted to do the EB-5. But now the investment amount has nearly doubled. It was 500,000. Now it is almost 800,000 plus. And considering the rupee depreciation, it is almost double the amount. So he's paying double the amount. And his son, who was 18 years back now, has already crossed 21 years of age. And his son will not be able to qualify. So he will be paying double the amount and he will still not have his son as a part of that process. So what we are trying to say is that this kind of programs, the immigration programs keep changing, their requirements keep changing, the investment amount also keeps changing. And as the programs become more and more popular, the government will take more and people start applying. The government will take measures to either make the requirements more stringent or to suspend the program altogether. We have seen some changes happening in Canada business immigration also during COVID. The very popular, some of you have heard about the program, owner-operator program. The government has made the changes and made it difficult to migrate over there. So currently, like we have seen earlier, startup visa is Canada government's priority. They have set aside a lot of program visas for this. And I would urge all of you to please act fast if you are seriously thinking about this program. The processing time also keeps changing. The startup visa, under startup visa, we used to get PR earlier in about 12 to 16 months. Now, last 2 years, because of COVID, the processing time has increased to nearly 30 months, right? However, the good news is that you are getting work permit much faster. Earlier, a work permit during COVID was taking almost a year or more, and now currently it is taking about 3 to 4 months. So those of you who wish to move to Canada very quickly can apply under the startup visa, take the work permit and move there very quickly. Also, government is currently supporting the startups. We already mentioned that there are a lot of grants and benefits available right now for the startups, so you can take benefit of that as well. And the other biggest advantage is you can save a substantial amount of fees on your children's education. Now, if you move to Canada, even on a work permit, your children will still be entitled to concessional fees. Your children can study free in the public school. And if it comes to colleges and universities, there are some colleges and universities, like say University of Toronto or University of British Columbia, etc., which will even allow you to pay fees applicable to local residents, even if you're moving there on work permit, right? So you can save thousands of dollars by way of fees and recover your entire expenses of the investment of Canada Startup Visa simply by way of savings from children's education college fees. Instead of international fees, you'll have to pay local fees, which is 1/5 of the international fees. So friends, these are some of the reasons we should act fast.